Used my power of magic there. Yeah, reference doesn't end with that kind of stuff. Reference is the key to growing. It really is. There's always things to learn. Okay. Your hands must be. No, this is not Sculpey. This is Cos clay. It's not a super hard clay, so it's not too bad. Okay, so, oh, I actually forgot an important ingredient to our process here. I'm a noob. We also use, oh, if I can find my full bottle of that stuff, hold on. Let's use it. Some Sculpey Bacon Bond. I had a full bottle around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Oh, well, I'll make this work. Oh, it's on the floor, but of course. Here we go. That one's better. Sculpey Bacon Bond. This is like a, there's all kinds of different polymer clay, ways to attach polymer clay to things. This is just the way I use. It's just kind of like a, it's like a glue. It's a bakeable glue. It's like just liquefied polymer clay, really.
Bay of service.
Take a brush here. We're gonna spread that out. Spread, thank you very much for the Prime sub, man. I appreciate that. Welcome to the CNAP Bush Kingdom. Oh, nice Sadie here. Join the fray there. So other ways you can attach polymer clay to things is you can use Vaseline, brushed on Vaseline. I've never used it, but I heard and I know it works. Some people use super glue, but there's some issues with baking super glue that, you know, that it gets a little bit fumey. So, but it does work. Okay, there we go. Now we will add clay. I always get things going just kind of creating a little pancake like this, and we just want to kind of get everything covered with the material just to get things going here. Hey, thanks for those bits, Silver. Appreciate it. The objective with this first layer is it's not supposed to look so pretty. It's just, you just want to make sure it's nice and attached. It's annoying when it doesn't want to attach very well. Just gotta keep squishing it down. Also, if you catch any air bubbles, make sure to get those out of there. Right there. Right there. Wonder if there's actually a difference in durability by not using B&B to attach the clay. It's not so much for durability, it's more for it not shifting around or falling off of the frame while you're working on it. That's, at least for me. You could just slap some polymer clay on there and really kind of force it to stick. But there's a chance that it'll come loose later on, and trust me, especially on like arms and legs, it's so common. So it's so frustrating when your arm falls off the frame when you're trying to detail it. Okay, so we got our little skull covered with the first layer of clay. It seems to be pretty firmly attached. So, all right. So this is the key. So one of the trickier things of doing it the way I do it is making sure you don't spend a bunch of time working on your head just to find out later that the head's too small or too big. So you have to get in the habit, you have to really force yourself to really check and make sure that the size and everything is correct before you get into any of the deeper layers of making the head. So if this is my character here. So because if you're doing it the way I do it, you already have at least a rough idea of what your character's size is in front of you, something you can compare it to. So all right, let's see here. Yeah, I'd love to show you some finished work, but not today. We're gonna try and stay on point with the tutorial. But if you tune in on Monday or Monday through Friday, I'll definitely show you some stuff. Yeah, we're trying to keep as minimal distractions as possible today. So as you can see, you know, this head's gonna be too small. Now for a giant, it's actually kind of nice. So like, if you want a character's body, like for example, if you look at characters like the Hulk has a tiny head compared to the rest of his body, you know, and that makes him look even bigger, you know. So we could do a tinier head, but we're not going to. We're going to keep adding material. So we are going to. That's right. Yeah, feel free to check out all the social media links, my Instagram. I got some work up on my YouTube channel. Mostly though Instagram and Facebook for past work. So I'm just gonna add a big chunk there, smooth it in. I'm trying to maintain that shape of that head, which the head kind of breaks down into a ball. It's like a sphere back here with a cylinder on the face. So it's like a ball. That's the ball part of it. And then there's a cylinder on the face, you know. This goes around. Most people think faces are flat, but actually there's a cylinder. All right. Keep adding. Once we get the size where we want it, then we're gonna split the head up with some sketched in lines. I'm gonna move these hemostats down. Kind of getting in the way. There we go. I'm actually having a little problem here where the clay didn't fully attach right there by the jaw. So I'm just gonna smush it in. That's better. Now, unless the character is bald, I don't typically worry too much about the shape of the back of the head. I'm more concerned about the face. Because if the character has hair, you can correct the shape of the head with the hair when you add the hair. But we do hair in a completely different baking phase, so. All right. Get the back of the head there. Should I preheat the oven? You don't have to. We are gonna do some partial bakes here, and but it only takes 20 minutes even if you don't preheat the oven. So, now how are we looking size-wise? Let's see here. Let's add a little bit more onto the chin area, and then I think we're good. Happy with that. For now, that could change. At this point, I'm going to start cleaning up the shape. Start smoothing everything out. Give us a nice base to figure out the rest. There we go. Nice back of the head there. We need a little bit more here where the jaw meets the head. All right, that's good enough. Oh man, this is actually... There we go. It's a little bit loose in there. Sometimes the head just doesn't want to stick too well, even with bacon bone, so you have to keep pushing it down. All right, there we go. Okay. This is the next step. So size, once we have the size we want, or at least we think we want, this looks pretty good. Now we're gonna break down the head into, we're gonna draw a line down the middle. These are guidelines. These will help you position all the features of the head. Like that. And then now we're going to split the head. There's different proportions you can use, but this is how I always do it. I look at it from the face, and I look at the top of the head and the bottom of the chin, and I kind of eyeball where the middle is there, and then I put a line. That's our eyeballs right there. Like that. Okay, and then this is something new I kind of like to do, where I'll take this tool here, I'll take the flat side of this tool, and I'll put it like this, and I'll just push down like that. And that will automatically create a little bit of our brow and also our cheekbone, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna measure from that line to the bottom of the chin here, and we're gonna eyeball about halfway between those two points. We're gonna put a little line. That's where our nose ends. That's the bottom of our nose. And then we do from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, and roughly in there is where the lips are. Now that all changes depending on, you know, the expression and all that stuff. This is just to kind of get us in the right ballpark. So. Is there any additional stability needed at this stage if the sculpture is meant to be handled more than it would as a decoration? Well, that's all about materials that you use. So I'm using cast clay here. So this will essentially just be a chunk of rubber when it's done with steel on the inside. That's pretty sturdy. So it could be used like as an action figure head or whatever. The main worry with stuff like that is actually the paint job. You know, you have to just make sure you do like good priming and a good finish so the paint job doesn't scratch, you know. So dope ninja head already. Yeah, or like a medieval knight. You can really see that the medieval knight helmet is very much just a rough proportioned human head. Okay, so at this point, the first thing I like to do is I like to define where the eye cavities are. So eyes, I know, are there's about a 1 eye width distance in the middle here, in between the two eyes. So however big the eye is, there's about that same amount of space in the middle between them. That's how you know how far apart to make them, or at least roughly. And all these proportions, once you learn them, you can really skew them one way or the other. You know, you could make the eyes closer together or further apart and come up with different looks. So we're just going to take this tool here and we're just going to push and create eye cavities. Now, the direction that I pull the clay is where I want more material. Does he need more on the cheekbone? Does he need more on the eyebrow bone? That's how we decide where we're going there. So, and you want to think of a skull, like how a skull looks when you do this. We'll fill this area with material to actually sculpt the eye later. So there we go, and right here. What the heck? Music paused. Okay, let's do this side. You can start to see the skull shape, right, already, just by doing that. This is always a good check to do every once in a while, either from the bottom, like this, or from the top, like this. It makes sure that things are on the same level, because sometimes from here, it'll look great, and then you look like this, and then you find out this side is way forward, and this side's way back, which that's what I'm seeing a little bit here, so we're gonna correct that. Bring those back onto the same level. There we go. Looks good. Let's look at Spoopy now. Yeah, he won't look spoopy when we're done. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna throw in a rough nose here. I used to work where I would just start going into each element now and really refining and designing each element. The problem with that is if you need to make a change later because proportions are different or off, then it really sucks, because you put a lot of work, like say we put a lot of work into sculpting the nose, and we make it perfect just to find out later that it's too big, too small, or not in the right place. Then you have to move it around. So we want to try and get all the features in place really roughly before we get into any detail. So okay, so just a little chunk of clay for the nose there. He's gonna have a bigger nose though, so we'll do a chunk of clay going this way. I'm sure we'll add more to it, but there we go. A little upside down T. That naturally creates the extra bit for the nostril, the ball of the nose, and then we got the bridge there. Okay. Now this is the part where I'll look at the lips and the chin region. I'm gonna add a ball of clay like this, a little flattened pad of clay. This is gonna become our chin. I'm gonna go right up to the bottom lip there, or roughly where the bottom lip will be. I actually think this guy, I do like how he's got a kind of like a little bit of an open mouth like that. So I think we're gonna do that. Hey, no problem there, Durkin. Thanks for supporting my work, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 5 months. A jolly giant. Yeah, more of just angry, or who knows. So okay, so if we're gonna do an open mouth, then we're gonna take a tool here. Let's do something that cuts more. I'm just going to cut this. That is happy. Now there's a piece of reference I was looking at earlier today that kind of really brings things into perspective. When a mouth is opened, it doesn't go straight down to open. The jaw actually tilts back, so it goes back to open. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this. Since most people, when we want to render this, we think that when a mouth opens, it just goes straight down, but that's not what happens. It goes like this. So.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
Nervous Potato is a hinge. That's right. Nervous Potato. Thank you very much for the sub. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's hinge it. Let's open the mouth. All right. Just gonna push this back. It's gonna look weird right now, but. Okay, now since the teeth will be shown, we have to sculpt the teeth, so the way we do this, watch. We're gonna pretend like there is no bottom lip for now. We're just going to find out where the side of the teeth are right there. We're just gonna push a little deep in like that. Here, I'm going to do the same thing. Push in deep here. And then flatten this out a little bit. Separate that. Pulling it down and out. So it kind of pulls this clay out. See? We're starting to get our shape of our teeth. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. Purple nugget. Hey, thank you very much for the 5 months. Hope you and yours, if you're not there, have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting my work. Okay. There we go. So we can see the jaw is back now. It's not just straight down, it's back. We'll be adding more to the upper lip area there too. Another thing we can do here is always easy to add, but right where the nostril is right there, you can almost just draw a line to where the edge of the mouth is. Here, let me show you. Just like this. Now the older somebody is, the more defined this is. And that goes for all lines on the face. The older somebody is, the more the lines are defined. There we go. Do that over here. The right side's always the easiest side when you're working. So if you're right-handed, because all your tool strokes and everything are going natural over here, and then you get to this side, you have to do it a little bit different. So. Make sure the camera's good focus here. What we got? Yeah, I've been using the gray cosplay for quite a bit actually. I got a little sneak peek at the gray cosplay before it came out. It's awesome. It's excellent stuff. Highly recommend. Okay, we're gonna. This is kind of poofing out too much. We want to really make this look like it's stretching. The skin is pulling, so we're just gonna pull it. That's much better. Not so poofy. Okay, so I'm gonna get under here with this to it, and I'm gonna pull this upper lip forward a little bit. Flatten that out a little bit. Okay. So now we will, before we do any detail or shaping around the mouth, we want to make sure the teeth are as detailed as we want to be. And if we want to add a tongue, we want to do all that stuff right now when the mouth is most open. And then we sculpt around it, so we start from the inside and work out. So let's do a little bit of detail work here and get all this looking good. I'm gonna push in a tongue a little bit there. Make that throat roll nice and deep. Probably can add a little more. We'll add a little bit more material for the tongue. You can see when I'm working, I try to work with what material is already on the project as much as possible. As soon as you start doing adding and subtracting of clay, it takes more time. To work that way. So if you can get good at just smushing it around, it's a much quicker way to do this. Say ah. Well, welcome. Good time to join in. They are planning on bringing all the colors to their clay. Actually, you can see right here on the box that they're planning to do that. They got all these different colors here, and I'm sure they're going to be more than just that. So it's a slow rollout. It's a new product, and they're being really smart about moving slowly to make sure everything's working good. Alright, so now I'm going to take a tool like this. It's a metal wax carving tool that comes in handy. for yeah, me too. I'm hoping for like translucent clay and stuff like that. I'm sure they will. Just gonna start I'm gonna start pulling out the teeth here. Actually, I might do. I'm gonna use the V1. This is called the V1. It's a little tool I made. It's a piece of wire that's been flattened on a anvil, so it's like paper thin. It's just nice for cutting the clay. Just gonna cut out those little teethers. The bottom teeth are always super tiny compared to the top teeth, so always keep that in mind. Now we're gonna do that where they insert into the gums. It is a thing. It's not like crystal clear. Yeah, it's like a foggy clear. But what it's great for is making stuff look like bone or nail or toothy material. And also, if you work with lights like I do, it's great for diffusing the light, making glowing effects and stuff like that. Alright. Bring that out a little bit more. Oop, a bit too much there. I don't want him to have perfect teeth because he's a menacing giant, right? Just want to clearly define the separation here between them. All right, thank you all for waiting. I've returned. Let's continue, shall we? Everybody's fed, everybody's happy. While I was waiting, I went and looked up some different references we can use, you know, just kind of look for photos of people that have qualities that you want to see in your character when you're sculpting a character's head. That'll help you inform your decisions on how to make everything look. So, oh, I'm sure eventually I will sculpt Sadie Snow Boom at some point. All right, let's get back to it. Okay. So yeah, like I said before the break, we're gonna start really getting into the details, really refining all the features of the face. We have a good rough layout. Now it's just working our way through each element of the face, making adjustments, adding material, moving material around. So, okay. I I think we're gonna dive in deep actually to the eye area. So I'm gonna use. There's all kinds of different ways to approach doing eyes. Some people they'll use, and I've used this tactic before, where you take a like a wooden. Let me show you. You take some sort of a hardened sphere and you insert it into your sculpture and then sculpt clay around that as eyelids. That's a great quick way to kind of go about doing things. But we're not going to do it this way. For this scale, it's really hard to find. Sometimes it's really hard to find the exact size ball that you would need. So we're going to do it the other way, where we actually just add clay and we sculpt the eye out and sculpt the eyelid around the eye out of clay. So, but that's another way to do it. You can get all kinds of different, actually if you see here, I have a little tomb of eyeballs in there. But they're all bigger size. I think the smallest one I have right now is about that big. Oh, that'd be way too big. Put that back. All right, so we are going to use the harder clay here for this part. This will just help us have more control over the sculpting of this area. I want to get the right sized piece here. You can do that. You can do it that way. Yeah, I've seen people do it that way. Roll a ball of clay, bake it, and then insert. You can also do teeth that way too. You can make all your teeth, bake them, and then like insert them into the clay. It makes a really good look. I don't know, lately I just tend to lean more towards the sculpting of them, because here's the thing, when you bake them first and then insert them, say you wanted to change the shape of the teeth or the eye or whatever, you know, you can't do it because it's already been baked. So I tend to like to do this, and actually, like, there's some differences, like the shape of the eye actually isn't a ball. It's more of like a teardrop shape, a real subtle teardrop, where the eye is looking really shapes the eyelid, because, well, where the iris and the pupil is kind of like pushed out further, kind of like comes to a point there. So when your eyes are looking left or right, that affects the eyelid. That's why it changes the shape of the eyelid. Because it's not just a perfect sphere, you know, rotating around in there. So I find it easier to get a lot more character, you know, in sculpting the eyes out like this. But that's not to say you still can't do it with the other way. That's just, I don't know. I'm also lazy, and I can't bake and wait for these eyes here. I just want to sculpt now, so thank you very much.
Now how may these
All right.
be of service to you?
Zassanique gifting a sub, and a Snow Boom with the 1,000 bits. Hey, thank you very much, Snow Boom. Thank you for that.
Now how may these
Zassanique gifting out 2 subs, and Colleen, I saw you gifted a sub during break.
Be of service to you.
Thank you all very much for the support. I really appreciate it, folks. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got these in there. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that they're not too deep, but also not too shallow. It's like the depth is an easy thing to get off with the eyes, you know. So we're pretty close there. I don't see them particularly sticking out too far, and they're not really too deep, so that's good. But what we do here is we add these chunks of clay like this, and this becomes our eye and our eyelid, because this is obviously too big, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to define the little corner of the eye right there. Look at our character here. Okay, he's looking off to this side right here, over this direction. Put in the corner there. And we're gonna flip it upside down to do the other side. It's just much easier that way. Put the corner here. What up, Jenny? How you doing? Okay. I'm going to use the sharper edge of this tool, and we're going to bring the eyelid across like this. And we do the bottom one the same way. Bottom eyelids tend to be more just kind of flat. It's really the upper eyelid that's got a lot of the curving going on. Alright, we're going to bring the material over to where the eye is actually looking. Now I like to sculpt in my pupil, and this just helps. This helps us know right now how he's going to be actually looking later in the painting phase. And also when we do the painting, it's so much easier to paint the pupil if it's a concave shape already there. So I'm gonna use a ball tip tool about the size that we want our pupil area to be. About that size is good. Yeah, he's kind of squinting. In this one, he's kind of squinting. I like how that looks. So let's define where that pupil's looking here. Just pushing that in there. And do the other one. Now, when people are looking like this way, like that extreme to the side, the inside pupil is almost a little bit more inside than you think. But hold on, let's do the eyelids first before we do that. To do the eyelid step. You see what I mean? If you make it the same distance, then it doesn't look right. It looks like kind of cross-eyed. It's weird. So you have to shift that pupil over a little bit more than the other side. Almost like he's looking straight into his nose. All right. And pupil. Set a little bit more in than the other side. There we go. Can just do a light dot if you're unsure. That can always be a tricky part to get the hang of, is placing the pupils. Don't be afraid to redo it if it doesn't look right. Alright, so now we're going to actually get into sculpting the eyelids to the place where we want them to be. So Converting your sub to a tier 1. Put me on the payroll there, Gray. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for committing to supporting the channel here. Alright, at this point, I'm going to go back to our softer clay, and I'm going to start adding little bits of material here. Like I said, I want this eye to look like he's kind of squinting a little bit, so we're going to bring up, make a little piece of clay here, and we're going to bring up the eyelid here. Hey, thanks, Looper. I'm glad to have you. This is fun. I think we're gonna do this more in the future. Just blending that little piece we added in. That is the softer clay, so it's much easier to move around. Now, the bottom eyelid actually goes in pretty deep here, onto the side here. It goes about like that. And then we can bring this piece back, roll that corner of the eye back here on the head. Clean up that cheekbone a little bit. And the top eyelid actually goes over this, so when we add material on top here, now the top eyelid usually is really hard to see. There's kind of like this pad of meat right here. It goes like this at the corner of the eye. You can see the top eyelid more in the inside here, and then it kind of almost disappears by the time it gets to the outside. Just a little tiny line left. And we add that little pad of meat. There we go. Blend it all in. Right there. Do you ever feel like you're getting burnt out or losing your passion for your artwork? If so, what do you do about it? I used to in the past, but not much anymore. I live a pretty balanced lifestyle, and I pushed my endurance to be able to work on stuff for long periods of time. I pushed it up over the years gradually, you know, so I think having what I do tied to my living, you know, it really makes it difficult to be burned out. And plus, I always have, I mean, you guys can see, I always have tons of different stuff that I'm working on going on. All of it I find fun, so sometimes just, you know, maybe switching to working on something different. Now the key is to actually switch back to the other stuff, you know, because a lot of times we'll play the switching game and then don't actually switch to the other stuff. But yeah, I don't really deal with any sort of issue with burning out. I think the further you get down your path as an artist, the less likely that's going to happen, you know, because, you know, as you get better at your craft, it becomes more fun to do. So. All right, so one problem I'm seeing with this eye here is usually you want the upper eyelid to be further out that way. And right now the bottom one is further out than the top one, so that means we either need to push the bottom one back or we need to move the upper one out, which I think that's what we'll do. So we'll move the upper one out further. Now, eyelids are one of those things you think are like paper thin, but they actually have quite a bit of thickness to them, so don't be afraid to make some nice thick eyelids. Let's add a little piece of clay there. Add it with our fingers, and then we get it into the exact position with the tools. There we go. Hey, what's up, Mills? How you doing? Alright, so now we need to catch the other eye up. So let's just switch over to that side. This one's a little bit different because the pupil, this eye, the pupil's on the inside of the eye, and this eye, the pupil's on the outside of the eye, so it changes things a little bit. Alright, let's add our little chunk of clay here. Sorry, that's too much actually. That can be something that takes some time for you guys to really get used to, is knowing when you're adding too much or when you're adding too little, or how much is the right amount. In most cases, you'll always add too much before you'll add too little. So. There we go. Let's blend that in. Now the corner of the eye on the inside, there's no overlap. So in the inside of the eye here, near the nose, both of the eyelids meet up at the same level. But on the outside here, the upper eyelid overlaps the under eyelid. Does that make sense? So this is over this. But they're equally the same there, and then you add in the tear duct, which is just like a little dot right there in the corner. So those are all the things I try to pay attention to when I'm learning different features to sculpt. Is how do they actually overlap or underlap? You know, what part goes on top of the other, or do they? You know, are they on the same level? How does it all go together? Bringing back that corner of the eye just like we did on the other side. There we go. Alright, let's address the upper eyelid region there. Let's add in that little fleshy pad on the outside of the eye there. This part right here. This kind of connects the eyelid area to the eyebrow, but it's like this. Little buildup of face meat right there. It's to what the upper eyelid kind of like disappears into. And that's different for everybody. That's more pronounced, you know. That's the thing is, you know, you want to learn just the kind of the basics of how everything goes together, and then you'll start to realize that everybody's face is very different. It all goes together the same way, but the size and the sizes and proportions and all that stuff are all different. Alright, we lost a little bit of the eyelid there. We're going to go back in and redefine that. Alright, now we're going to start working on the nose. We got the eyes. We don't bring it to 100%. We don't want to get too far ahead on any region of the face. We're going to build it all up at the same time. So I'm going to leave those there. Now we're going to start bringing in the nose. The reason you don't want to bring one feature all the way is because, let's say we did the eyes all the way to the finish line, and then we start building in the nose. Well, now that more of the nose is there, the eyes start to look wrong, you know? So like, you almost can't tell if something is on or off or where you want it unless you have the other things there to compare it to. So yeah, we're gonna want to build in the other stuff. I want to go in one of those real broad bridged noses. So we're gonna add to the bridge there. Now the shape of the nose, let me see if I can find this reference here. It's kind of a, you think it's just kind of like this long shape with like just dots on the sides for nostrils, but it's actually more complex than that. Let me see if I got that nice nose reference. I'm not sure I have it saved here. Let's just look that up. Nose shape reference. Or nose shapes. Let's just see if that gives us what we need. And not quite. Nose shape reference. A lot of reference used for drawing is very valuable for sculpting too. So, oh yeah, right here. There we go. So this is, now noses are very different. You guys can't see that very well, but yeah, you can kind of see it. Noses are very different depending on whose nose we're looking at. There's all kinds of different shapes of noses, but they're all made up of the same kind of shape. You got kind of like this front ball of the nose, the nostril, the side, the bridge. Actually, hold on. Let's see, this one doesn't show the upper region of the nose here. Yeah, this is another good one. Stuff like this. This is the kind of stuff I look for. This gives me more information than just looking at like a photo of somebody, you know, because now my mind can really understand what shapes I need to make on my character. So as far as nose difference, here. I just saw it. Oh yeah, this one. This is how different the noses can look. Look at the difference between this nose and this nose, you know? both noses, but they're both very, very different. So that's why looking at different, once you understand the shapes that make up the nose or the anatomy of the nose, then you can just look at different photos of people to get inspired on different noses. Usually we tend to know our own nose the best, so most of our characters tend to have the same kind of nose that we have. So that's why they always say that artists' work end up looking like themselves a lot. It's definitely true. Give me a second here. Get the right one up. Oh. Didn't mean to click that. I think I want him to have a much bigger nose. Kind of like almost leaning more towards the dwarf size. So just gonna add some more meat here. More to work with. Big old schnauzer. I'm also going to extend the eyebrows out to kind of help bring that area out. Liam Neeson, is that how you say his name? Oh, that type of look always reminds me of him. He's got one of those kind of big, strong brow with a big old schnauzer. Hey, what's up, Scary King? Alright, just kind of flatten this bottom area up here. You don't want to add the nostrils really until the end. As soon as you put the nostrils in, the nose becomes much harder to work on. So we're gonna define the difference between where the ball of the nose is and the nostril here, just like that. So I'm just pushing the nostril down, pushing it down, and then we're gonna bring out that line right there. It gets really defined like that. So. Shape it a little bit more, get a little bit closer. Blending that all in up there, where all those pieces of clay separate. Okay, now we want to blend this into the side of the eye here. We're gonna bring the nose into this region and blend it into the cheek. If you want to make something prettier, usually it has a softer transition between the nose and the cheek. No, it's okay. That's a good question. So, like, after we create this head, you want to know how we're going to add it to the body, right? I actually happen to have a perfect example of what that will look like. This will kind of help explain how things are going to look later. So we have our Thursday project is a Viking character, so it's actually fairly similar to what we got going on here. And we just had added the head. So this is the step that comes after the head is sculpted. So let me show you. So we've been working on this. We sketched out the entire character and then even made a sketch of his head. And then I get to the point where I was ready to actually sculpt his head. So I cut the head off, I removed it. We sculpted this head. This is the same as this right here. Right? Not the same, but different character. And then I baked it so I can touch this. This is hardened clay. I took this and it has the piece of wire coming out of the bottom just like our thing here. I drilled a hole into this part, the torso. And then I pushed the head into position and figured out how I wanted it to be looking. And then I added this clay right here. This is still sculptable. The neck isn't done yet. So you kind of just, you have to create the body and then the head and then the part that connects, you sculpt in between and then bake it all together, and then it's one solid piece. So this is just the way that you can do it with polymer clay. Now this guy, he's gonna have, you can see he's gonna have a beard and a helmet and all that stuff, and I decided to do the helmet and the beard after it's been attached. So I'm gonna sculpt those onto the head after. With our character here, we're gonna do the beard and the helmet before we attach it, which is okay. So all right, set this down somewhere. I hope that helps you. If you're gonna do a dragon, you could start with the head and then sculpt the body and then attach it to the body, or you could sculpt the body first, which is what I always recommend. Sculpt the body first, rough the head out, you know, just like in a very sketch-like manner, and then just go through. We're actually, if you tune in on Monday, we're working on a very large undead dragon. This is the head. This is the head right here. So tune in on Monday. You could see us. We will probably be attaching this head to the body and sculpting the neck after that point. So, all right, let's get back to work here. Let's see. Will the helmet be in a removable piece? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It'll be permanent. All right, where were we? Nose. That's right. We're on the nose. Need to clean up this other nostril here. Again, we're gonna push the nostril back from the ball. The ball of the nose is just that part that's on the tip of the nose there. Gonna define that line there on the side. Blending all that together. Hey Kate, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome Raiders. joining in on a very special tutorial stream. Come on in. I'm demonstrating how to sculpt a character head, or my way of sculpting character heads. That's a pretty good rough shape. I think I want the bridge of the nose more visible, so we're gonna add a little bit of clay there to this part right here. This part right here. Some people have like that bump right there. That's actually the part that's part of your skull. So that's the area where the bone stops and the cartilage starts. So it's the bone, the skull bone. So we're just gonna bring that in there. Tell you what, once you get into sculpting faces, once you get into sculpting characters and faces, or even drawing, the idea of like sitting at an airport and people watching is becomes a real fun activity because sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just say, okay, I'm just gonna look at everybody's nose as they walk by, and they'll walk by and you'll see all kinds of different noses. I catch myself at grocery stores or when I'm out and about wanting to snap photos of people just because they give me an idea of a character or something. You know? Of course I don't. Just try to remember, but create a. Can I have your photograph? There's this older lady at the store yesterday, and she was, you know, the old ladies, they have that little cute little head bonnet thing that they wear, you know, that little cloth that they like tie around the top of their head. She had that on, but then she also had her mask on, and it like reminded me of, like, I don't know, and the way she's kind of like, she's elder, so she's like all hunched over and stuff, and I don't know, just made me think of some sort of like, I know it's mean to say, but it made me think of like a goblin roguelike type character. I don't know, almost like Styx in a way. I wanted to photograph that lady, but I would just have to remember Goblin Granny. So it's more of the like little hood thing she was wearing, and her posture combined with the mask, and it just all kind of came together. It's not mean at all. It's not. It's just this is artist brain stuff. I think you can look at everybody in reality and make some sort of a fantasy character out of them. It's more fun. It's fun to do that.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
OJ gifting Katie a sub. Thank you very much, Mr. OJ. Appreciate it. Okay.
Now, how may these hands
Antoniator. Hey, thank you very much, Mr. OJ.
be of service to you?
I appreciate that very much, sir. Alright, so now we are going to...
Now, how may these hands
OJ gifting username a sub.
be of service to you?
Doesn't want me to talk, I guess. Thank you very much, OJ. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for all the support, man. We're gonna start working on this jaw and mouth region, because this is all starting to look very cleaned up, and this area needs a lot of work. As you can see, the jaw here is too small. We need to make that bigger. We have to add in our bottom lip. Oh, let me switch my reference over here real quick. Let's get a mouth reference. Always work from reference. The newer you are to this, the more you need to work from reference. But even when you get advanced, or even when you're growing, you always need to use some sort of reference. I guess not always. You can get away with not using it, but it's always helpful to use. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Type in something here. That should do it right there. What's up, Charla? Okay, here we go. Now, definitely need to add more onto this jaw, so let's start adding material. We gotta keep in mind his mouth is open, so the jaw is back this way, like swinging open like a hinge. So probably not that far down because it's not completely open, so add a little bit more like that. Chin will be about right here. Hey, what's up, Senka? Alright, let's do it on the other side too. Just adding the mass, and then we'll blend it all in, all together. The type of character we're making, you know, he has broader features because he's a giant, so keep that in mind, you know. It's like every type of character you make will have different subtle differences. You have to just kind of decide how you want the feel of your character to look. It takes a lot of experimentation to know what changing different things does too, you know. As you can see, I've experimented quite a bit. That was probably one of the most beneficial things about doing the troll heads, was gave me a lot of just practice experimenting with different, you know, expression and different types of faces and stuff like that. Alright, so yeah, we're blending it all in, establishing that jawline right there. So it's always a good key feature to establish, because you know, this kind of this tells us where the ear goes. So typically the ear goes from the top, about around the top of where the eye is, right there. That's the top of the ear. And then hangs down somewhere in that region right there, right behind the jawline. So, but of course we would do additive, but we're not gonna add the ear yet. We don't need to worry about that just yet. That's going a little bit too far in, so we're going to add a little bit more there. Keep blending it in. It's about where our bottom lip is, right about there. So, oh yeah, let's blend in the other side before we continue. That's always a thing you're constantly battling, at least for me. I always want to just keep going on one side. I just want to just keep working, but you gotta really force yourself to switch sides. Life is so much easier if you just do each side back to back. Alright, so we can start to see starting to look much better, isn't it? With the adding of the jaw there. Could even go a little bit bigger, I think, on this side. You always look at, when I look at it like this, I look at kind of the silhouette. I can see that it kind of comes out a little bit more here, and I like that. It's missing on the other side, so I'll just go ahead and add that little piece. I'd say the jaw is not so important to get 100% correct on this guy because he's got a full beard, but because we're all learning here, we're gonna fully render it. Need to fill in a lot here. That's a little bit of a battle of symmetry. Whenever you're doing the second side, you're always just trying to make it look like the first side. So it's a different mission involved. There we go. Clean it all up. Kind of help us sculpt the jaw here. There's, here, let me show you. Underneath here, there's a little bit of like a hollow space. See that down there? So when I'm pushing it around, it wants to move around a lot. So what we can do is we can just take some clay, fill in that area, and that'll give some structure behind it. And that'll help us moving forward here. Much better. Okay, let's put it back on. we are. Okay, so now that we have the jaw a little bit roughed in better, I can see I actually want there to be a little bit more cheekbone. So we're gonna bring out his cheekbones a little bit here. I agree, Baya. That's a good day today. I definitely enjoy my Saturdays. Usually this is my day, my break away from sculpting, but this kind of stuff's fun to me. I could do this kind of stuff all the time. So sculpting character heads. I think it's just good to separate from like the you know, the intense stuff, you know. You're just trying to take it easy. At least for me, you know, like when I'm working on client work, it's a little bit more intense because I'm trying to do the best job I can. Not that I'm not here, it's just different. It's different. It's a no pressure type of job, right? Nobody's counting on me to make this look good. I like that better. If you're ever unsure about like when you're adding masses to your face, just add them like this. Don't take the time to blend them in until you're happy with how they look. So added those in, they look good, so now we'll blend them in. If they don't look good, you remove them. A relaxing way of getting away from sculpting is sculpting. We're all counting on you, yeah. I know. Yep. No, I really do make an effort to separate myself from sculpting. I think it's good to get away from it. Keep the flames hot, you know. The flames of inspiration. All right, so now I'm gonna roll a real thin little piece here. We're gonna add in the bottom lip now. Just like that. It's gonna be thicker towards the middle, and it's gonna get thin towards the edges of the face there. Let's blend that in. This is always an interesting area of the face for me. Just the way all the mouth and jaw and all this stuff goes together. So typically we have like a really deep part right here underneath the bottom lip. That's where the chin meets the bottom lip. And then from that point, we have like a little like this. Just goes around. That brings out the chin, but then it also creates, there's like this little piece of meat here. Let's bring it in over here. It's like this little poof of lip meat right there, that little quadrant. That's on both sides. So from this point, goes around, brings the chin out, and the chin is actually usually pretty flat right here. It's a plane right there. That kind of completes that shape. But you know, some people have the nice little butt chins and all kinds of different chins. You know, we could do a little chin dimple right there if we wanted to. His chin will be covered by beard hair later, so it's not that big of a deal. It's adding a little bit of extra face meat connecting from the chin. It goes up into that piece that wraps around the mouth. It actually goes into the upper lip from there. Here. Bottom of the chin into the upper lip. Just a little piece of clay. Yeah, this one goes into the upper lip area like that. Okay, now this side isn't looking so good here where the bottom lip connects to the upper lip, so we're gonna try to fix that. Just push that down. Gotta be careful not to bump into our teeth, so let's get in there. Add a little bit there, a little chunk there. Same with the other side. Blend those in. So those little bottom lip meat chunks. All technical terms, by the way. All these little things, learning where all these little masses are and what connects to what, that all just takes time for you folks to learn. It's like every time you'll sculpt a face, you'll see something new, you know, you'll learn something new. Little jowl meat chunks. So this blends better into the chin like this. It's not so separated. Hello. Let's bring out that bottom lip a little bit better. I want the edge to be a little bit more defined, but it gets really thin right here, so. There we go. Alright, it's blending. Remember we added those cheeks. It's those cheekbone inserts. We're gonna blend those in. Now keep in mind, this whole time we really technically haven't done any detailing. This is all just adding little shapes, blending them, moving them around, and then once we're happy with the shapes of it all, we're gonna get it to the point where we're gonna be adding textures, wrinkles, you know, all those little tiny details. But that's not, you don't want to do any of that until you're happy with the shape. I'm gonna add a little bit of a piece here, connecting the nose to the cheek. It's a little bit too much of a drop off, so we're gonna just take a little piece of clay here and put it right there. Usually that part of the face connects right behind the nostril. Right in there. Alright, let's see. So eyebrows. We'll create a line like this. And again on the other side. Start breaking up that shape into the actual shapes. This is where we can start getting really changing the expression with eyebrows. So I think we'll have, because of the way he's looking, we'll have this eyebrow a little bit more relaxed, and then we'll have this eyebrow a little bit more down. So more like flexed, if you will. This eye needs a little bit of help. See, the shape of it's a lot bigger than this one. That's because we didn't finish over here at the corner. We didn't finish the corner of the eye very well, so. Let's do that, or clean up that upper eyelid. That should be more like that. Oop. Yeah, in my opinion, it just brings something more to life. If you have something just looking dead ahead or straight on, it's just too, I don't know, neutral, too boring for me. I think that's an easy way to make a lot of expression. And honestly, if you look at people, you know, when you look at people, they're rarely just blank staring dead on, you know. So we're all a bunch of shifty-eyed creatures, shifty and looking around, and you know. So It gives you more. It gives you more to work with, you know, because we can have asymmetrical face anatomy and all that stuff, which, in my opinion, makes it more interesting. Good question. Yeah, it's because I do like that. I don't like a dead-on looking character. It's the same with poses, you know, like the posing of the body. I don't like having characters just kind of standing there, just doing nothing, you know. I want there to be a little bit of action. That was a good fix right there with the eye. That looks much better. It takes time to be able to pinpoint what you need to change with the sculpture. A lot of you guys will notice something is off about a part of the piece, but you don't know what it is and how to fix it, you know. So that'll take time to figure all that out. Alright, we need to do the corner of the eye. Looks much better over here. We need to do that over there. I think we add a little bit more meat there. Hey, welcome. Welcome from Chile. Thanks for being here. Have you made any skulls with multiple faces or hands that can be changed with magnets or otherwise? No, it's not, that wouldn't be hard to do. That's just something that would increase the cost, you know. So like if a client came to me and they wanted a character with like multiple heads, then it's gonna cost them, you know, extra. Most people are pretty cool with just having one, so yeah, that would be no problem. There we go. I got the little meat of the eye looking the same on both sides. See, as we're going on this face, we're getting more and more specific, more and more refined. You want to start real general and work your way to the point where it's getting really picky as you go. I'm adding in the corner of that eye right there. The little tear duct. This is all right. We also want this bottom eyelid to go under that top one like that. There we go. That's the problem there. And then this one can connect with the head, and then we get those nice little crow's feet, little wrinkles there. All right, let's do the little temple region here. So from the edge of the eyebrow here, we can create a little indent, push it up and around. This is like the temple region of the head. Create that little indentation. So it kind of like separates your side of your head from your front head, forehead, or 5 head, however many you get. Do that on the other side. Of course. Okay, what's next here? We're starting to wind down. We're almost to the point where we can start doing the textures and the details, and then get this in the oven for our first bake. Let's add in our little divot right there in the middle of the upper lip. It goes from the middle of the nose down, and it really helps you establish your upper lip shape. That classic upper lip shape there. I want him to have a real thin upper lip. Hey Zestiny, thanks for the gifted subs, man. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, I should say. See you later, brother. Hey, well, welcome back. Alright, I think we're ready to add the nose, the nostrils to our nose. Okay, gotta smooth that out. I want to move his upper lip out. Yeah, it's too far. It's too small, too far in. Think I could sculpt that? Oh yeah, definitely. That looks tasty, man. Could make me hungry. Just a beef brisket sculpture. Alright, so we're gonna add a little bit of material under the upper lip here. It's just, he's gonna have a mustache, so it's not that big of a deal, but these are the small things you'll notice. You know, you'll be working on your face and you'll spot all these little things while you're working on other parts, and it's good as soon as you see those to switch over and address those as soon as you see them. So yeah, it's much better. Add that divot back in there. Let's bring that lip back out. Thirsty puppy. Looks good. Looks good from the side. Okay, so let's add the nose holes, and I think we'll clean it up, and then we'll start adding detail. Oh, we do have to do the corner of the eye on this one too. Hold on. Push these holes in here. Usually that pushes the nostrils up a little bit, so it'll go back on the top and kind of push them back down into shape. Unless we want them to look flared, then we can just leave them. Sculpting that tear duct on the other side. add a little bit of material there. It might be too much. Let's see. Remove the extra. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get an art station going eventually, where I'll have all my stuff on there. Just haven't gotten around to it. Takes a lot of time to move 8 years worth of photos, or more like 10 years worth of photos. Alright, I feel like the cheek area, I think I want to add a little bit more muscle definition there. So I'm going to pull up a kind of like a muscle anatomy chart of the jaw area to help us make decisions on that. Actually, this one might work. That's right. She did a great job. I mean, we collab on the paint jobs, but she took the brunt of the work on that one. I just went in with washes and cleaned things up a little bit. Okay, so yeah, let's do just a little bit more cheek muscle in this area here. Looks good. And we'll blend all that in. I think I like that filled in look better than the... I mean, we could leave those really kind of like super skinny looking cheek areas in. You talking about the D&D monsters? We have two completed completely, so painting and everything done. And we have, let's see, like 5 that need to be painted, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 that need to be painted, and then like 2 or 3 in the clay phase. Oh, there we go. Yeah, check the spreadsheet. Okay, let's blend that in. The Myconid, the Gibbering Mouther, the Mummy, and this one, well, it does need actually more clay work, so technically just those 3. That's what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, I was thinking of the Black Dragon, but that one we decided to make bigger, so just 3. Got three ready for paint. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 almost ready, or at least past the first baking cycle. So, the medium cost clay, that what we're using right now, is pretty soft, yeah. I've not used Sculpey medium, so I couldn't compare the softness to you. I'd say the medium firm is pretty close to what Sculpey original or Super Sculpey original is. And the cost clay soft is close to Sculpey original. The super soft stuff. Alright, so when I blend these in, I try to blend it to keep the shape. See, I kept the shape, that little separation kind of gives us free, almost free detail in a way. Do the same thing on this side. We blend it in a way that we keep the shapes we've laid down, but they look like they're all under a piece of skin, you know, so. Let's add a little bit more here. I swear our playlist is doing a bad job at shuffling. Let's see here. Let's see here. Alright, I think we're gonna move on here to the next step here. So the shapes, I'm pretty happy with the shapes we have here of our face. Now we're not doing the ears, and I'm not too concerned with the back of the head, like the shape of the skull portion. I usually just worry about just the face, and then we do the back of the head, the ears, the hair, all in a separate layer. So, oh, anything's possible, my friend. All right, let's you know what? Let me actually adjust a little bit. Let's just add. This is something you can do when you build the face the right way. Is changing the expression is just a push of clay away. There we go. A little bit more expressive there. I don't use super Sculpey. I use cast clay. It's a flexible polymer clay. Well, when it's after it's been baked. So it's here, let me show you. Set this down. This is what's nice about cast clay is you can create your pieces exactly how you want them to be, and after they're baked, any part that would normally be fragile, like this spike here, it's flexible like rubber, so you don't have to worry about stuff breaking. It's like a firm rubber. It'll return to its original state after it's been bent. So these are all pieces that have been baked, you know. So this is what I use exclusively now. And if you use something that has wire in it, you could put a piece of wire on the inside, and you can make stuff posable. I was about to make him give a middle finger. Don't want to do that. So you can make hands and stuff posable. Pretty cool, huh? And then, like, the thinner it is, the more flexible it is. So you know, you get pieces like this. Cast clay, it's like this right here, cast clay. Now I use today what we're using is the cast clay medium blend here. This is brand new, they just rolling this stuff out right now. So I use medium soft, and I also use the Kickstarter blend, which is a really firm version of that. I just noticed while we were looking at this that the cheek comes out further on this side than on that side, and I like that. I like how that looks over there. So we're gonna add a little bit of clay on the other side to balance that out. A little bit of symmetry
now,
there.
How may these hands be of service to you?
Oh boy. Hey, no problem. Thank you very much for the 3 months of support. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate
now,
you there.
How may these hands
Kyanite.
be of service to you?
Amanda with the 4 months. Thanks, Amanda. Thank you both for supporting me, sticking with me. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you kindly. No more. No, I don't use Sculpey anymore. Okay, so we added that there, and it needs to be subtle, a little bit more subtle. Sticking out way too much. There we go. Much better. Okay, next step. Set that down. I'm gonna take some alcohol. There's all kinds of different solvents you can use for this. we tend to use, I use alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, but you can use nail polish remover, you can use lighter fluid, mineral spirits, all kinds of different solvents for this next step. I like alcohol because it evaporates pretty quickly, which lets you kind of get back to work faster. So we're going to take that, we're going to take a small brush here, a little softer tipped brush. This is a great use for any old paint brushes you have laying around that you normally would probably throw away. Just hang on to them and they can become your clay brushes. So I'm going to go over everything we sculpted here with this brush, and the alcohol kind of melts the surface of the clay, and I'm brushing to remove tool marks and to soften everything up, get rid of fingerprints. It just kind of brings everything
Thank you very much.
Now, how may these hands be of service?
Amanda
to you?
Conda, thank you. Colleen dropping, I don't even know how to count that high. Oh, there we go.
Thank you very much.
Did it for me. 1,000 bits from Colleen. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Amanda.
Now, how may these hands
Slayer Bay. There we go. I was bad with my
be
leak
of
speak there.
service to you?
Slayer Bay, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome. Welcome to the CNAP Bush Kingdom. Crazy.